Hey everyone, I'm Dave, and today we're making the world's best, no wait, we're not. Today we're making my favorite pizza rolls. I didn't even plan that. That sounded very marketing-y. Okay, so in the last video, we tried to make the world's best pizza rolls, and I ended up being okay with them, but not loving them, not thinking they were the world's best. I actually have a recipe for pizza rolls I've cooked a bunch of times. We're gonna cook that today instead, and I think it's even better. So follow along with me if you wanna try it. I've cooked these a few times, but probably not in the last 2 years. And last time I had them, they were great. I'm sure they're still great. The big thing we're gonna start off with is cooking up some sausage. And I had to just go to the store to buy this because I forgot I didn't have any. It's this Jimmy Dean stuff, not sponsored, but willing. Could have sworn last time I bought this, it was $3. It was $6 today, which is ridiculous, by the way. Not to complain. Okay, so like I said, oh, actually, let me get a knife to open this. There you go. But yeah, just standard sausage. You could do hot if you wanted to. That'd be kind of weird though. I don't recommend it, but yeah, just open it up, plop it into your skillet over here, which, let me turn the camera just real quick so you can actually see what's happening here. All right, I'm not sure about my lighting, but you can get a general idea. This is a skillet, and I'm cooking, is it a skillet or a pan? I don't know. Either way, we're just throwing sausage on there, nothing special, no oil, nothing. Just cook it as is, make it all brown. So we're gonna let that sausage cook for a minute, and I guess I should break it up a little bit too, just into smaller pieces so it can cook nice and evenly. And this is gonna be one of the ingredients inside of the actual pizza rolls we're making. And I'm telling you, they're good, so I recommend trying it out. We're also gonna wanna get a big bowl, so we can combine all the ingredients that go into the pizza roll. All right, so let's let that cook up for a bit. I try to remember to get all my bowls and spoons and forks and knives before I start cooking, but I always forget. So anyways, this is pretty simple. The first thing we want to do is we want to get a big bowl and we want to combine a bunch of ingredients. First off, some sort of Italian cheese blend. I have this Italian, it's got mozzarella, provolone, Parmesan, Asiago, Fontana, like Tony Montana, and the Roman cheese. No, not Roman, Romano cheese. It may be from Rome, I don't know. And it says you want to use 4 cups, and there's 2 cups in each bag, so simple life, right? There's 2 cups, and there's 4 cups. Actually, I'm vaguely remembering now as I do this that last time I made this recipe, it made an outlandish quantity of food. I'm gonna stir up my sausage over here. Like I said, trying not to burn it, but I am running around like a madman, so I probably will make it a little bit more brown than I want it to. That's all right, I can already see I kind of crisped it up a little beyond the required amount here. I think my heat's a little too high, so it's cooking pretty fast. And this was just 1 pound of Italian sausage, guys, 1 pound. Almost done. Okay, so it looks like our sausage is almost done, and I'm just rechecking the recipe and realizing that it calls for 2 cans of pizza sauce, and I only bought 1. So I'm gonna go double check in the house. I might have some in there already. We might be okay. Okay, so this sausage is pretty much all cooked through. All the pink is out of it. So we're gonna set the sausage aside. That's gonna come back into play in a couple minutes, but I'm just gonna set it over here off while we finish getting everything else ready. Okay, so we've got our cheese in our bowl. Up next, it calls for 6 ounces of pepperoni. I like to use the fancy pepperoni where you have to cut it yourself. You could just use the pre-packaged pepperoni if you're trying to make dinner in a rush. With this kind of pepperoni, usually there's like a weird skin on it. It's not called the skin, it's called, well, I don't know what it's called. It's some sort of, I'm gonna remember as soon as I'm done. It's this thing, whatever this thing is called. Casing, that's the word I'm looking for, is casing. I take that off. Although in the past I've eaten it as well, so you know, do what you wanna do. The recipe calls for 6 ounces. This is a 7-ounce stick of pepperoni. So basically we're just gonna chop all this up. And what does it say? It says sliced and chopped. So we're gonna slice it up and then we're gonna chop it. So as you can see, we're gonna have sausage, we're gonna have pepperoni. That's 2 of the meats in there. And then we're also gonna have some peppers and some onions in there. We're gonna get to preparing those in just a second as well. All in all, it's not a hard recipe. It's a kid pleaser if you've got kids. I remember I was looking for a recipe my kids might eat like 3 years ago, found this. You know, the rest is just history. Kids love it, I love it. It's a win-win-win. Those things I made in the last video, make sure you check that out, were pretty good, but they really didn't feel like a meal. And I think, actually, now that I'm remembering, in the past I would use a food processor for this part because it's kind of a pain to cut pepperoni like this. But I used to use a food processor, put it in there and chop it all fine. I'm not gonna do that. We're already halfway done. Let's just finish it up like this. Well, summer's coming for sure. It's May, mid-May, and I'll tell you what, I live in Florida, guys, and the temperature, she be a rising. It is hot out here right now. The pepperoni's sweating. The Dave is sweating. That's my name, by the way. Did I tell you that? I should probably introduce myself in the channel in case you just discovered this because you were looking for delicious pizza rolls and you're like, oh my gosh, these look like delicious pizza rolls. I'm gonna watch Dave cook them. Well, I'm Dave, and normally on this channel, what we do is we look up the world's best recipes on Google, and we try them to see if Google's really giving us the best results. But honestly, I'm struggling with that whole Google thing because I'm more and more using ChatGPT for answers, not Google. So maybe we should start just always using ChatGPT and say, what is the world's best pepperoni recipe, Mr. ChatGPT, and see what it gives us, because like I said, more and more, I'm using that. All right, so these are chopped up pretty good. I mean, I don't want giant chunks, to be honest, but there we go. There's 5 ounces, 6 ounces of pepperoni. And up next, we're gonna take some green pepper. Now, the green pepper is optional. I've actually made it without the pepper in the past because I find the pepper to be pretty overwhelming. So what I'm gonna do is instead of, well, let me go wash it first. Oh, because sorry, I washed it, I'm back. I just go right back into talking. Because I've made this for my kids a lot, we basically got to the point where we didn't even put in the peppers because they didn't like the peppers. But I also kind of agree that you can go too heavy on the pepper. This is a pretty small pepper. I probably could use the whole thing, but my 8-year-old's pretty picky. So I'm just gonna use like a quarter of it, or no, a half of it, like that. And that way it won't be too peppery and won't create anger with my children. But you totally could use a whole pepper here if you want to for your world's best pizza rolls. Chop it up nice and fine. Don't drag I have to get in the habit of not dragging my knife across the cutting board. Not just because it makes Brian Klaus, the viewer, angry, but because it does literally dull out my knife. I've noticed. I have the dumbest song stuck in my head, guys. It's, what is it? Lonely Island, which is Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live or from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That guy, it's his band. And they sing this song about movies with Michael Bolton, where like Michael Bolton's a major cinephile. Some of you out there, like Dave, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't even recommend the song because I don't think very many of you will like it, but it is stuck in my head regardless. Okay, so there we go. We got chopped peppers, chopped pepperonis. We're chopping everything. Let me clean this up a little bit. And then the final thing, I think, is this onion. So we're just gonna do the same thing again, but with an onion this time. My knife is nice and sharp today, can you tell? Like butter slicing through the onion, pretty nice. There is something coming up in this recipe that I could see you getting a little bit overwhelmed by or nervous about. You know, it's a mountain to climb, but it's really not as hard as it may look. It's the actual like turning these into rolls with the next step. So we're chopping up this onion and I'll be right back once it's all chopped. Okay, so this is all good to go. How did it work out? So basically we're gonna take the pepperoni at this point and we're gonna put it in with that cheese. Remember, that's 4 cups of Italian cheese. You could totally just use mozzarella, but I used Italian blend. We're gonna put the peppers in with it. We're gonna put the onions in with it. Basically everything goes into this bowl for a delicious pizza roll filling, basically. This is all the filling. Okay, so on top of that, we wanna put the sausage. That is the other thing we've gotta add in here. And I'm gonna try to pick it up with this slotted spatula to get some of the grease out. Although I guess I could just dump it in. It's not that greasy. And then we're gonna add 28 ounces of pizza sauce. That's 2 14-ounce jars. In case you were curious how number 28 divides into 2. Now you know. And then, like I said, here is our pizza sauce. 14 ounces in each can. And I didn't bring out a spoon, so let me bring out a spoon, actually stir it. All right, so actually I got a fork, but basically we wanna stir this all up together, get it nice and mixed in, because this is gonna be our filling for our pizza rolls, basically. Oh, I forgot one of the jars. I was wondering why it didn't look saucy enough. Here's the other jar of sauce. So we're up to 28 full ounces of tomato sauce in the mix here. Definitely looks like more to it than the pizza rolls we made last time, right guys? All right, so that's pretty mixed up. Let me get a 1/4 cup and a couple more things for the next step. Okay, so for this next step, this is a step I said might be overwhelming for some people. It was for me the first time I did it. I got a cookie sheet with a little bit of, and I have some egg roll wraps. That's what we have here is egg roll wraps. Now, what you wanna do is you wanna take the egg roll wrap, like so, and I haven't done this in a while, so I might have to remind myself how to do it. Place an egg roll wrap on your cookie sheet, and then, let's see, can I remember how to do it? I believe it's like this, 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 and then roll, right? Right? That seem right? I haven't done it in a while. Okay, so you wanna take a 1/4 cup of your filling. So that's what I've got here, is a 1/4 cup of my filling, and put it here on the egg roll wrapper, kind of spread it out a little. Okay, can you see that? Okay, then you want to take the egg roll wrapper and put it around the filling, like so. Then, here's the secret. I've got a little bowl of water here. Wet your finger and then wet the corners of this little egg roll thing. That's gonna help it stick. You then kind of form a triangle like that, put a little water on this corner here, and then you roll. And then I take a little more water and do that. And so now we have what is essentially a little egg roll shaped pizza roll. I'm pretty sure that's how I did it. I haven't done it in 2 years. I'm pretty sure that's right. Now, how do we actually cook this? Oil, and we're gonna fry them. So let me get the oil added to my pot and we'll heat it up. All right, so let's just add some oil to this pot here. We don't wanna fill it too high. I remember having to flip it last time I did this. So like maybe there, we'll cook it on one side and maybe a little higher. So that's like maybe an inch of oil at the most. And I'm using a nice deep pan so that, you know, if it goes over, well, so that basically so it doesn't go over. I don't want a grease fire out on my deck here. All right, so let's let that heat up a little bit. And then while that heats up, we're gonna prep a couple more of these pizza rolls. Actually, I'm gonna do a little water there too. Okay, take another quarter cup. Like I said, I think it's way too much filling, but that's okay. Spread that out. Take this around the filling. Add a little water to the corners. This probably isn't perfect, guys. I'm not a professional chef. That's kind of the whole point of this channel. This is just an everyday guy trying to cook for his family. And I say that every episode. I'm contractually obligated by my own knowledge of how bad I am at cooking. This is 2 egg rolls. So just keep doing this. Basically you wanna cook them in batches of like 4, I would say. Well, you don't burn anything. But I will say this, when you take these out of that oil, they will be piping hot and you could burn your mouth if you're not careful, so definitely be careful. I've never had someone watch me do this before and I feel judged, guys. Don't judge me. I know there's a couple of you who are like pro cooks, been to cooking school, who are just like, Dave, what are you doing? That's not how you do an egg roll. But you know what? It works for me, so that's how we're doing it. So as far as the oil goes, I mean, I think you'd want it at how hot? 375 degrees. Our oil is currently at like 240 degrees. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple more ready. There's probably enough to make like 30 pizza rolls in this recipe, maybe more than that. So it could feed a big family. Like I said, you could cut it in half if you so desired. Now I will say if you have a super picky kid, we're already here, we've already got the egg roll wrappers. You could totally just make like a cheese egg roll for your picky kid. No kid hates cheese, right? So you just put cheese and nothing else in here. I've done that in the past. Try not to get too much water on it. I'm being a little bit slack because, you know, that's just who I am. But I imagine getting a bunch of water into hot oil is not a great plan. So I should probably be more careful. So our oil's at about 350. I'm about to put these in. I've got a little plate ready. I'm gonna put some paper towels on it to catch the grease when they're done. I'll just put that next to where we're cooking so we have somewhere to offload these when they're done. So let's start putting some of them in. I've got some tongs here and we're going to just drop them in one at a time. Put a little sizzle. You want a little sizzle. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could probably do 5 at a time. We might even be able to do 6. It's a pretty big bowl. Yeah, I'll do 6 at a time. There we go. I'm gonna leave them in for like 60 seconds. 60 seconds or so. What's the recipe say? It says 1 to 2 minutes on each side. It also says you can serve with additional pizza sauce. Now, the way I've done this in the past when I'm feeding my family is while that cooks, I'll like even set a timer sometimes, say set timer for a minute. That way I don't forget, because I do forget things a lot. I'm an inattentive cook. But I will start preparing the next batch while that first batch is cooking. That way I can, like, right after it's done, bring another batch in and, you know, keep it moving, keep it going. So another thing I'll say about all this extra, because we're gonna have way too much of the filling. If you did do what I did and like made the whole recipe, you could totally save that and use it at a future date for something else. You could throw it in just like a normal like tortilla wrap and have like a little pizza that way. There's like 8 million things you could do to pizzafy your life if you went overboard and made this whole recipe like I did. I'm back, guys. I know you didn't even know I was gone, but I was. Here's what you missed. You missed my camera overheating and my pizza rolls overheating. I got distracted by the overheating camera and the pizza rolls kind of burnt a little, but not all of them. So we can kind of get an idea of what they may taste like. But right now they're so hot, I don't want to do that anyways. I will show you though what it looks like. Oh gosh, it's so hot. Let me get a knife. All right, I dropped 2 knives on the ground. So let me get an actual knife this time. We're gonna cut it open. Oof, and show you. So there you go. There's what it looks like inside. This one actually is cooked pretty good. See the sausage and the cheese and all that yummy goodness in there. And we're gonna try it in just a second. I wanna see what my oil's at. The oil's nice and hot, so I'm gonna throw a few more into the heat here. 1, 2, 3. Now last time they kind of stuck to the bottom, so I'm trying to like pick them up as soon as I put them in so that doesn't happen again. There we go. Now, while that's cooking, let's try to take a bite and see how it came out. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is a real pizza roll. Look at inside that. See the pepper and the onion and the pepperoni and the sausage? Still burning a little bit. Burning the mouth. Delicious as always though. And again, on this batch, I'm just keeping a closer eye. I'm gonna turn them a little more often so that we don't burn them again. That looks better already. We want them a little browner than that, but not too much browner than that. So let's heat the other side for a minute and then we'll turn them again and hopefully we get a nice clean looking batch out of this one. And here I am back to multitasking again, which sort of caused my issue the first time, but really the issue is the camera's breakage that messed me up. The camera just turning off. Because the problem is when the camera turns off, you can't hear me anymore. The whole thing falls apart. So we don't want that. Even though I have multiple cameras, got to make sure the main one's working. It's the most important one. The other 2 can go down, no problem. All right, that's enough camera talk. You're here to watch food. Again, if you want, you could probably get way fancier on how well these are folded, but I'm a simple man who likes simple folding. Comment down below how you would fold these differently than I did. All right, let's check these again. Been another 30 seconds or so. Yeah, these are looking real nice. I'm gonna do like another 20 seconds here, maybe 30. Take them out and these ones will be good. All right, we're gonna call that done. Can you see it? I think that's a good amount of brownness on there. 1, 2, and 3. Doesn't that look a lot better? Take it over to this camera. Looks a lot better. World's best pizza rolls right there. This is a totally different world than the pizza rolls we had in the last video. Like I said, they both have their place, but these are just like 10 times better, 10 times more delicious. We make a couple more and then we'll be back. All right guys, here we have it. The world's best pizza rolls. They are very delicious, I recommend them. They're not really the world's best, but they're my favorite. Try them out, let me know in the comments what you thought of them. Make sure you tell us you loved them, you hated them, what you do different. You can put more ingredients in them too. Mushrooms, have you thought of that? I don't know, never tried it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed this more relatable cooking video than most, hopefully. Anything I cook on here, you can probably cook at home. This is Dave signing off, bye-bye.